Welcome to Whores Talk Horror.
We're not really whores. We just like wordplay.
Hello and welcome to Whores Talk Horror. I'm Sharon.
And I'm Melinda. And oh my God, you guys, we are so excited about this episode. Today, we are doing a very special interview, long distance, all the way from New Zealand.
Unfortunately, we are not in New Zealand, but our guest is. Listeners of our show know that I have been waiting a very, very long time to watch the show Wellington Paranormal. It's finally available in the States, and I was thrilled to finally watch seasons 1 and 2 this summer. And today we are super lucky to get the chance to chat with one of the stars of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, the hilarious and fantastic Karen O'Leary. Karen, welcome to the show.
Kia ora koutou. Nau mai haere mai, thank you very much. Ko ma tārangi te maunga, ko waipahihi te aua, ko Anne Rawa, ko Steve Okumātua, ko Claire taku tuakana, ko Joe taku taina, ko Melvin taku tama, ko Eilish Wilson taku tō wāhine, no whanganui tara ahau, ko Karen taku ingoa. Tēnā koutou.
What?
I just said to you, my mountain is Mount Victoria, my river is Waipahihi, my mum and dad are Anne and Steve, my big sister's Claire, my little sister's Joe, my son is Melvin, and my partner is Eilish Wilson, and I am Karen, and I'm from Wellington. That's what I said.
Wow.
Good me.
Well, so usually we do have our guests introduce themselves first off, but before we do that, we need to give you and the cast and crew of Wellington Paranormal a big, huge congratulations, because you guys are a huge success. According to the international streaming guide called Just Watch, Wellington Paranormal was the most streamed show in the U.S. back in July, even ahead of Ted Lasso, which won like 50 million Emmys just like a few weeks ago.
Where is my Emmy? Like, surely it's a matter of time. Is it next year or?
Next year.
Probably, but you got more viewers. So that's what I think that's a success. Yeah. What's it like being the star of like the most streamed show in the U.S.?
I don't know. I feel, sorry, yeah. It makes me laugh all of the time. And I often pinch myself and think, how on earth has this happened to me in my life? You know, especially as someone that's a teacher first and foremost, and then has accidentally ended up on a TV show that's now number 1 in the US and is in the Rolling Stone magazine. Like, this is really funny. Am I allowed to swear on this podcast? Because I was about to say an F word, but then maybe I can't swear.
It's called Whores Talk Horror, so swear as much as you want. For those of you listening who do not know, Jermaine Clement, who is one of the creators of Wellington Paranormal, actually tweeted about this accomplishment. I don't know if you read this tweet, but he said, quote, and I'm not going to do a New Zealand accent because I don't want to embarrass myself, but he said, quote.
Do it, Sharon. Come on, Sharon. Try one.
You really want me to?
Well, I'll say it and then you copy me. What was the tweet? It was like...
he said, what the heck, USA?
Yeah. What the heck, USA?
What the heck, USA? What?
It's A, not A. A.
USA.
What the heck, USA? What the heck? What the heck, USA? And then he said...
Close.
Then he said, we didn't even know if you understood what we were saying.
Yeah, and I don't think people did. That's why they had to watch it so many times. That's why we got the streaming number 1. Because they're like, what on earth are they actually trying to say?
Well, I'm not going to lie. I did have to watch every episode with the subtitles. But to be fair, I watch everything with the subtitles. I watch everything with the subtitles now. American shows, everything. Because it just makes it so much easier to understand. But, so he's not wrong. But the show is hilarious and fantastic. And that's why it's number 1 in the U.S. It's because it's so damn good.
Well, thank you. It's very kind of you to say.
It's the truth. All right,
so now take it.
And now that we got the big congrats out of the way, we'll come back to more questions about Wellington Paranormal in a bit, or as I call it, Welly Para. Do they call it that in New Zealand?
All the time. They call it Welly Para. So it sounds kind of different, but it's pretty much the same. Welly Para.
Was that different than what I said?
You said Welly Para. And it's like, that sounds cooler. It's like more flash, but we're like, Welly Para.
Welly Para.
Yeah, but that was it. Yeah, you got it.
All right. I needed you before I went to New Zealand. I've been there twice, actually. So I could have used your help before I went to blend in a bit more.
Well, look, next time you come over, if we ever open our borders again, because we're obviously shut off to the whole world right now, and no one can come here because we've got such a beautiful place that we don't want anyone to come in and infiltrate it. But if we do open up, then I'm your tour guide right there.
Sweet.
Absolutely. I'm taking you up on that because
I've never been, so I'd love to go.
Why have you never been to New Zealand?
Because I'm a jerk.
Yeah, I'm starting to learn that now. I didn't want to learn that about you, but sorry.
Have you ever been to this? Have you ever been to the States?
Yeah, that's a funny question. Well, it's not that funny, but no, I was going to go to the States, but then because of my
but then we suck. No.
You what?
I said, but then you found out we suck, and then you were like, no.
Because I had some indiscretions in my youth, and America's very hard to get into if you've had any indiscretions in your youth, / you've had fun times with the police, which is ironic because now I am a pretend police officer. I wasn't eligible to come into your country for a long time, but now I am, and also now my partner is living in LA, so I'm going to be coming over there hopefully on Boxing Day.
Oh, okay. We found out the hard way what Boxing Day is because when me and my husband
Boxing Day,
we don't have Boxing Day here, and we the last time I was there was in 2015, and we arrived on Christmas, and
the 27th.
Oh, did we? Yeah, we skipped. I don't know. When you fly there, it takes 24 hours to fly. We left on Christmas. Yeah. We arrived, I think, on Boxing Day, and everything was closed down. So we all of our plans for that day went out the window.
Yeah, because it's Boxing Day. But I don't even know what Boxing Day is for. What is Boxing Day? Do you put all your stuff back in the box and then you go for Christmas? I don't know.
I don't know.
We just call that Black Friday.
I should probably know. I'll try and find out.
Let us know. Email us when you find out.
Yeah, I'll email you. Yeah, for sure. I'll tweet it.
To be fair, I haven't been outside of the U.S. a whole lot in general just because of happenstance. And so New Zealand's on my list. It's not that I was avoiding New Zealand by any means. It's just that it didn't happen yet.
Oh, yeah. As long as you're at the top of the list, then I'm happy with that. And I'm happy to show you around when you get here, finally. As long as you don't go to Australia first. Because if you go to Australia, then you're dead to me.
Good to know. Good to know. Thank you.
So you've already told us a little bit about yourself in the intro. And, just tell us a little bit more about you. Where did you grow up in New Zealand? You said Wellington, right?
Absolutely, yes. Whanganui Tara, yeah, Wellington, yeah.
And how did you get into acting? Anything else you want to share with us?
Do you want a synopsis of this or a really long, drawn-out story?
You know what? Whatever you want to give us, we would love to listen.
I'm very bad at synopses, so I'll just tell you. Well, I grew up in Miramar, which is right near the airport in Wellington, with my lovely mum and dad and my two sisters. And I used to play cricket and soccer all the time, football. And I had a very idyllic childhood, I think. And in fact, we used to be called, at my primary school, we used to be called the White Cosbys, which at the time was like a sign that you were a really perfect family. Obviously now, it makes you sound like the white rapist. So not that great now. But back then, it kind of was cool, So, obviously with context, it's not that good. We don't want to be the White Cosbys anymore. We want to be the White O'Learys. Or just O'Leary. Anyway, yeah. I grew up there and then went to school in Wellington and then I went to university to do politics actually in the first instance, and then didn't really have a great time because I wasn't in the hostel, so I didn't make heaps of friends. I was like, oh, this is boring. So I dropped out from university, went on the dole for about 12 months I think actually, and watched Sky Sport all year, and then went back and thought, oh, maybe I should do teacher. So I enrolled in Teachers College to become a primary school teacher, which I thought was the actual teaching, not early childhood, which is like just babysitting, But then I got kicked out of Texas twice because I'm a bit naughty. And then while I was doing that, I was working as a reliever at Adelaide Early Childhood Centre, which is the job I had for 21 years. And in that time, I realised actually early childhood is where you need the most inspiring, charismatic teachers ever. So I became a teacher there and did my early childhood degree. And then one of the parents at my centre came up to me one day and said, "Hey, Karen." I was like, "Yeah." "These two guys are making this movie. They need a couple of cops. You should try out." So I was like, "No, I don't want to try out for that. I'm not an actor. I don't want to do that." She's like, "Hey, I reckon you'd be really good." I was like, "No, I don't want to do it." She's like, "Oh, well, just come and chat to me on Saturday, and if you don't like it, I'll stop hassling you." So I turned up to this thing on Saturday. I was feeling a bit rough, and she'd organised an audition that I didn't know about with Cohen Holloway. She's like, "Okay, right, you just pretend you're a cop and say what you say if you're a cop." I was like, "What? Oh, okay." And then the next day she's like, "Tyker and Jermaine loved it. You're in the movie." I was like, "What?" So I ended up being in a blinking movie. And then, all the other stuff happened. And they're like, "Do you want to make a TV show?" I was like, "Yes." I don't know how to make a TV. Yes. It's very accidental. I feel very fortunate, but I think like from my early childhood background, it's like if you make an effort to make positive relationships with other people, then opportunities come to you. Maybe. I don't know.
Sure.
I like that philosophy.
No, I do too. Yeah.
I think you're right. So you brought up that you were in the movie What We Do in the Shadows first in 2014. So when did the idea to develop O'Leary and Minogue into their own like movie or television show, when did that come into play? How did that happen?
Yeah, so we filmed the movie in 2012 and then it didn't come out till 2014. And then Paul Yates, who works with Tyker and Jermaine as part of the New Zealand Documentary Board, he's like the unsung hero. He does all of the hard work and gets none of the credit, but he's an amazing human. I just remember getting a call from him maybe a year later saying, "Would you like to make it prefab for a coffee? I've got an idea to pitch to you." I was like, "Oh, yeah, okay." And that was then he was like, "We've decided that all the reports have been that the cops are really funny. Maybe there's a spin-off show on this, and would you be interested?" I was like, "Yes, okay, sure." Yeah. So it was, I was like, "I don't know how to be in a TV show, but I'll give it a go." Like, yeah. Yeah. So that was probably, and then everything in TV takes so long. I had no idea. It's not like teaching. Like you teach something, it happens at the same time. TV, it's like you say something, it takes a year for it to happen,
Right. Yeah. And you seem like a natural. I mean, you had no previous acting experience prior to What We Do in the Shadows.
Nah, I'm really good at acting as myself, and that's pretty much what I do in the show. So.
Okay. And, we probably should have mentioned this earlier, but for those people out there listening who have not seen the show, how would you describe Wellington Paranormal?
I describe it as a mockumentary style show that is in the fashion of, like, we've got a New Zealand police show called Police 10-7, which follows police officers around and sees what they're actually doing. So it's like that, but only then we've added paranormal entities to it. So we're every week we're trying to deal with a different paranormal phenomenon and trying to do our best to solve the case or just walk away safely. This is what we do most of the time. Because my nose is a big scaredy cat. He's so scared.
Aside from the U.S., internationally, are you guys shocked at all or surprised by the success of the show? Or are you kind of like, "Thanks for catching up, everybody. We've been on for like 3 seasons."
Nah, I'm always so happily surprised. It's very lovely. It's so nice that I've got some, obviously my mum and dad are from England, so I've got some relatives over there that've been able to watch the show and they're like, "Ha ha, so funny thing on the TV, Karen." I was like, "Yeah, whatever. Do you love it?" Yes. And apparently, like, it is so funny that we're on in 60 countries around the world. Apparently Mozambique, they can't get enough of Wellington Paranormal. It's like, I would never have thought that Mozambique would be my big fan country, but I'm happy with that. I love it. And if I get to go there, I will, and them in Brazil, apparently. Yeah. So
it's amazing.
It's really cool. And also, as you got to hear I got sent, Paul Yates, the producer, sent me the French voice version of our voices, and I was like, whoa, I sound so sexy when I talk French. I need to learn that French again, because I was like, and yeah, it didn't sound like me at all, but it sounded really sexy and hot.
All right, I think we can you send that to us? Can you send us?
Bien sûr.
Oui, oui.
Oui, oui. No, I'm fine. I only go to the toilet. I'm fine.
All right. I have to know, how hard is it to get through a scene without breaking character? Because, I mean, every scene is hilarious. So how hard is it? And also, who breaks character the most on the show?
Well, that's a very easy question to answer. It's Makapohatu, who plays Sarge. He is a terrible corpser. He corpses all of the time. And he's his laugh is so infectious. It makes it very hard. But I think for me and Mike, we've always got this competitive thing where we don't want to break. So we're quite good at staying straight the whole time. But yeah, Makapohatu, it's like, oh, you're laughing again, man. Come on. We've got to make this show.
I mean, that's one of the things I love about the show is that you're so deadpan when you deliver your lines that that's what makes it so funny. And also, how much of it is improvised?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, obviously, like with the movie What We Do in the Shadows, there was no script whatsoever for that movie, so it was all improvised. Everything that we said was improvised. But with the TV show, because of the making a TV show, we had to have a script. So there was a script, and we always do a script version first that me and Mike would have learnt, and then Jermaine would often come in and say, maybe try this, and he'd just have some really weird ideas that you're like, this is not, and it would be really funny. And then we'd get. They're like, okay, well, Karen and Mike, you just say whatever you want to say. And so me and Mike would just talk rubbish as long as we could before they said, okay, cut, shut up, So it's a real combination of all three of those. So it's, some of the scripted stuff, like we've got an amazing team of writers, a really diverse team of writers, like heaps of really innovative comedians, like women and men around New Zealand. And then with Jermaine and Jackie Van Beek, who directs as well, Tim Van Dammen, they've always got amazing ideas. So we combine all of that with me and Mike talking shit, and that's what the end product.
Well, now whenever I watch, I'm going to pay attention to the scenes where you're not breaking to see if I can catch which one of you are starting to break first, now that I know that...
I've only done it once. So if you can find that scene,
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I want to see blooper reels. Are there blooper reels?
I'll send you some.
Can you? Like, it can be on Vimeo, locked down. We won't share it, I promise, but we would love
I don't believe you, but I will send it to you anyway because I don't care.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I did some Googling before this interview, obviously, because I was curious if there were any shows on television in New Zealand that are like, we have tons of paranormal reality shows here in the States. And I couldn't really find a whole lot. Are there any shows like that in New Zealand that are popular? And if so, do you watch them? I should also add, no shame if you do, because I watch the dumbest shit here in the States. So
fair cool. So are there other paranormal shows in New Zealand?
Yeah, like reality, like Ghost Hunters or...
All we've got is Wellington Paranormal, Country Calendar, which is a farming show, and Shortland Street, which is our worst ever soap opera. Apologies to people I know that are on Shortland Street, but it's pretty rubbish. So that's pretty much the three shows we've got, and the news. We've got the news as well, but everyone's got the news, I don't think we've got anything else like that. Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
You're probably better for it. Let's just say that much.
Found my niche,
I was gonna say a lot of the ghost hunter shows and the reality TV shows where people are hunting ghosts are also pretty rubbish. So you're not missing much.
No, but you've just reminded me. We do have the show like something like a sixth sense or a weird sense, and it's like this apparent clairvoyant who goes and finds out the answers to things. And I'm like, what? And I was actually on Anika Moore, who hosts a show called Unleashed, interviewed me alongside this clairvoyant, and it was just honestly hilarious. But yeah, I mean, I don't believe a word she says, but she's convinced.
What can you tell us about season 4? Have you finished filming? Do you know when it's going to air?
Is that the two things you want to know?
That's what I want to know. Anything
Okay,
you can tell us about season 4.
You finished that second one with a high rise. So I was like, are you still going?
Yeah,
So-
no. That was all
No,
because we don't even have.
We call Sharon on that all the time.
I do that a lot.
Our producer
thank you
over
for,
here.
for finding my Achilles heel.
Spencer, sort it out, man. I can't handle this questioning. You know what is going on with that? Like I'm about to answer, then it's like, no, she's still talking. Is she? Oh, she stopped. What?
No, that's fair. I train her. I try, but she's
You trained
untrainable.
Okay,
This interview is going off the rails.
He did not do a good job training me. Also, you found my one Achilles heel. So thank you for finding that and pointing
You're
it
welcome.
out.
It's my pleasure. I'm a police officer. It's my job to investigate things and find them out. Season 4. What I can tell you about season 4 is that we have finished it, and it's in post-production at the moment. So I've got to go and do some ADR, which I find very difficult. You know how hard it is to do you know what ADR is? Obviously you do. Do you or not?
We do, but for those listening who don't know, tell them.
What does it actually stand for? Even I don't know. Additional dialogue recording. Is that what it is? Yeah.
It's either
So
that
like
or
when the
automated
sound-
dialogue recording. Yeah.
Exactly right. So it's like when the sounds, you've said something, but the sound's been shit or something's been scraping along and so it's rubbish. You've got to go and say exactly the same thing at exactly the same time your mouth moves again. And it's very, very hard to do that. Yeah. So I've got to do some of that. And then I think it's due to come out in New Zealand in February.
Okay.
Okay, so then we'll probably get it a year later.
Probably 5 years later.
Right? We don't have season 3 yet, and it took how long to get season 1 and 2? So, but we'll be
I
rooting
think
for
they're
it.
holding out season 3 on. Well, I don't trust me on this, but I think they're holding out season 3 because they're going to put season 3 and 4 together. So I reckon you'll get early next year.
Okay.
Yeah, and season
right.
3 is the best one yet, and then season 4 is even better. So look forward to it.
If we have to write a letter or make calls to make that happen sooner in the U.S., let us know. We'll do it.
Yeah, just write to me, and I'll see what I can do.
Okay.
So you film in Wellington. Is everything on location? Do you use any sets?
Yes, we do. We have used sets. Most of it's on location, like in the Hutt Valley, because that's where Avalon Studios is, where we do lots of the internal kind of police stuff. But we've built a set, like when we did you haven't seen this one, the Fear Factory, which is a hilarious episode where I made up with my mum. We had to build a replica of the actual Fear Factory. It's like this place you go and just get scared and pay money to get scared. A weird concept, but people do it. So they built a big set in Avalon. And similarly, like we had another scene from season 4 where we were toppling over at the edge of a big building on a car. So they built a big set for that. Yeah, so it's a mixture.
Does Wellington have any famous haunted locations that you know of, or famous paranormal stories?
Yes. Well, obviously, did you guys see the Mount Vic Hooters, the one about the tunnel?
We did. We actually,
Yeah.
I've been through that tunnel before.
Yeah. Have you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, did people toot their horn in that tunnel?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah, we
like
were
a
on a
known
tour of, we did a WETA workshop tour, but the tour guide, who actually looked and talked a lot like Michael Caine, he drove us all around Wellington and, showed us some of the sites, outside of WETA. But we went through that tunnel and he told us about the honking and...
Did he tell you why it happens?
I'm sure he did. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Good, was he? He didn't make, yeah. Because apparently the reason that people honk in the tunnel is because when it was getting built in 1938, I think, one of the workers killed his partner and buried her alive in the rubble of the tunnel, and so the honking was to let her ghost out or whatever, and that's why people honk in the tunnel all the time.
Oh, I just thought it's because the acoustics sounded really cool.
Well, it does. It's I used to bike through there every day to go to high school, and it was like lovely / horrific when you're trying to bike through and you're like, oh god, it stinks like carbon dioxide. Ah, god! And there's a big hoot, yeah. But it was actually because of that poor, sad woman who passed away.
Interesting. Any other stories? paranormal stories?
Well, yeah, I've got one more story. And this is a true story. In the ghost house episode in the first season, when we had that 70s party ghost,
Yes.
that was a massive house in Kandala, which was it had become derelict, and so we managed to get it for filming, and we went there on set, and we're like, oh, we better get a kaumatua, which is like an elder woman to bless the house to make it okay to do a karakia, and so we got this kaumatua to come in. She's like, oh, there's a woman here, and we're like, what? And she had no idea what the show was about. She was just there to bless the house, and she was like, oh, there's a woman here, but no, she's really happy with what you're doing. And we were like, okay, that's weird. And then we looked up who had previously owned the house before it had become derelict, and it was a theatre, like a well-known Wellington theatre actor who was a total thespian and who loved the arts and creativity and stuff like that. And so she was obviously, well, potentially the woman that this kaumatua had seen or been aware of. And then we got another story from an electrician turned up to the house before we filmed to make sure it was okay and safe. And he rang Paul Yates. He's like, oh, look, I've been to the house, the lights are on. There's a woman inside, but she's not letting me in. And he's like, I've knocked on the door, but she's not coming to the door. And this is a true story. I'm not making it up.
We love this.
Yeah. And so then he's like, so I just had to leave, but I'll go back tomorrow. But there's no one's been in that house for 20 years. But there was lights on. There was a woman that he saw in the house, and it must have been that theatre woman, in my opinion, but I don't know.
And she was like, they're filming a TV show at my house.
Yeah,
I love it.
I've got to try to the house. I can't think of I'm tidying up, Yeah.
That's amazing.
She was waiting for her cameo.
Right?
Yeah. Well, I'm sure she's in it somewhere.
I'm going to have to watch that episode again now. And now I'm going to totally
look out for it.
hardcore watch every single ghost.
Yeah.
Maybe one's not an actor.
Yeah, well, it seemed like when we were doing this scene with the toilet upside up and being in the upside down. And this is another running joke that I've always got. And he's like, because I never watch TV or movies, I'm terrible. I'm like, nah, I'd read the newspaper, that's about it. And when they had that line about, are you in the upside down? I was like, what do you mean? I actually had no idea what the upside down was. I was like, I don't understand this joke, but I'll just try and say it. But it was perfect because I had no idea, and it made it funnier.
That's awesome. I love it. Yeah. We're going to switch gears slightly from paranormal. We generally try not to get too overly political on Horrors Talk Horror, but for Sharon?
Because I'll tell you why. Because people from Texas email us and call us cunts.
That happened.
That happened.
Great word. I would be happy to be called that.
Well, we were we made it. We got hate mail. We finally made it.
I know exactly how you feel. I've had some of it myself. On Facebook, it was like, oh, for goodness, it's all those anti-vaxxers,
Yeah. It was because we said something about the new abortion bill in Texas, and then we also said that white privilege exists. So he sent us a long hate mail calling us a bunch of cunts and fuck us and whatever. It's lovely. I'll email it to you.
He'll never fuck you, and that's lucky for you guys because he sounds like an absolute wanker.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, we blocked him. But I will say that we're all feminists at this table, including Spencer. So you're in good company here. But I was curious because I read an article from June of 2020 by Emily Brooks on the New Zealand site Stuff. And it was entitled Wellington Paranormal's Karen O'Leary on being Karen, but not a Karen. I clicked on it because I was thinking, it's an interview with Karen O'Leary. And she talked about the Karen phenomenon, which I think really kind of started here in America. But I was curious, is that a big thing out in New Zealand or outside of?
Being a Karen?
Yeah, that whole
being a Karen definitely is a big thing over here. But again, like I was trying to say that in that thing with Stuff, I think it's a bit misconstrued. It started off as a movement by people of colour in America to say just because you're a woman doesn't give you the right to be racist or whatever. And now, obviously, as is always the case, white people have pulled that and they've used it as an excuse to either hassle women or make them feel stink for being assertive, or then similarly, like men have used it as a reason to say, oh, you're just being a total Karen and stop moaning. So, yeah.
Well, I just wanted to say,
my name sucks in New Zealand.
well, I was going to say that was the first thing I ever read with you, like in terms of any piece or like before I even saw this show. And I just wanted to say that article actually made me like a huge, huge fan of yours, because I loved how you were funny, but then you also dropped a truth bomb about how, as a feminist, it's important to clarify that being an assertive woman who demands respect and fair treatment is not a bad thing unless you are being an assertive, racist asshole. Yeah. And you just went on to say, and I have to read this because I think it's so funny, quote, I love that my name is Karen because as someone who doesn't necessarily fit your typical bill of a Karen or even a woman, it's been quite fun to watch and I like making jokes at its expense, unquote. Fucking A. I just want to say I love it. Well played. Thank you for that.
Thank you. I think often humor is the best way to try and hopefully change people that are idiots, you know?
I agree completely.
Otherwise they just get defensive.
I also listened to that interview, and I have a quick comment I would like to make, because you also mentioned the name Sharon in that interview, which is my name. I think you were trying to throw all Sharons under the bus with all the Karens just because our names rhyme, but then you redeemed yourself by saying Sharons are a little more, quote, rough and ready, end quote, and you apologize to all the Sharons. So I just want to say, on behalf of all the Sharons of the world, we collectively accept your apology.
Well, I appreciate that. Didn't I end up trying to call it Dave or David? Let's call it Dave. Yeah.
Yeah.
Although you did, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that you had mentioned your middle name is Lorraine. And
when did I do that?
In that same article.
My most embarrassing thing is, no,
Don't be embarrassed. Don't be embarrassed, because I'm mentioning this because I did spend time with family recently, including my 2-year-old baby cousin that I've not been able to see because of the pandemic, whose name is Rainey. She was named after her grandmother, Lorraine. And I want to give a quick shout out to her godmother, Julie, who's a fan of our show. And I told her we were going to be interviewing you and she freaked out. So what's up, Julie? But there are other Lorraines in the world.
You, Julie. It's so lovely to talk to you. Have a great time with your goddaughter, Rainey. And I hope
Lorraine's
it's a sunshine time.
Lorraine's making a comeback. Rainey for short. I like it.
Karen, I'm going to make a new show in New Zealand actually called, like I said, one of our one shows is Country Calendar, the farming show. But I'm going to make a show called Country Karender, where I just go around New Zealand and talk to Karens and see how cool they are. And then everyone's like, well, yeah, Karen's a cool name. Yeah, that's my plan.
I'll watch it. I'll totally watch it.
I'll send it to you on Vimeo, along with the bloopers reel.
I'll be waiting.
You'll be waiting a long time probably. That's okay.
Well, we want more Wellington Paranormal first. And then
okay, well, that's coming. It's on its way.
Okay. So, don't get nervous, but whenever we do an interview, we like to do a little lightning round with our interviewees. So we're gonna do a lightning round. Are you ready?
Yes, I don't know what it is, but I'm ready.
Okay, cool.
Is it like rapid fire?
Kind of, yeah.
It's not.
It's not. You know, we call it a lightning round.
Shush. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to these guys.
Spencer's always trying to mansplain podcasting to us.
I know what a lightning round is. Even if I don't care. I'm listening to these guys. They will explain it to me. Go. Lightning round, start now. Get that thumb out of my way. What?
She saw your thumb. Okay, first question. Are you a believer in the paranormal? Why or why not? No judgment.
Yes and no. I think that I believe in spirits and their presence, but I feel like you've got to be someone that believes in that to warrant it happening to you. So maybe if you're not a believer, paranormal stuff doesn't exist, but if you are open to that kind of thing, then you maybe are open to things like spirits or presences coming into your life.
Good answer. We're not judging you on your answer, trust me. This is just for fun. But it was a good answer.
Thank you.
All right. What do you, Karen O'Leary, have in common with Officer Karen O'Leary, and what are your biggest differences?
I think we have got the same voice. We look the same. We've got the same sexuality. And the differences would be that I think I would hope that I'm a little bit funnier than her, and like to have a joke more than she does. She's pretty straight-laced, and that drives me insane sometimes. I'm like, come on, can you just cheer the fuck up? But so I think generally speaking, we're not that different. But I think I'm definitely more for a good time than she is. She's more for a sensible time.
All right.
Good to know for when I come visit New Zealand. And
yeah,
you are my tour guide.
Officer O'Leary. Yeah, you want to visit me? It'd be way more fun.
Okay, cool. 'Cause I like to have fun too, so that sounds like a good time.
Right.
Do you like scary movies? And if so, what is your favorite scary movie?
Yes, I do. And actually, Mike and I got sent over to the Sally Lloyd Screams Festival in Sheffield, like in, I don't know, 2 years ago. And I was like, I don't really like horror films, freak me out. But then I was like, well, no, they've flown me all the way from New Zealand to Sheffield. I better go to be polite. And I ended up going and thinking, these are actually really funny. Like they're not actually scary and horrific. They're actually really funny, but also a little bit scary. So I guess my favorite, I remember being terrorized by, first of all, the Michael Jackson Thriller video. That was the first thing I got, and I had nightmares for a month about that. And then Freddy Krueger and Nightmare on Elm Street. That was my other one that, has never let me go.
Us too. That was how we bonded at age 8, because we both were the only 8-year-olds in 3rd grade who knew who Freddy Krueger was.
Yeah, and he was always in the back of your car. So when I was driving, I was like, oh, he's going to be in the back of the car.
In the rearview mirror or something like that.
Yeah. That jersey. Then I got a jersey that looked just like his one. I was like, this is a cool jersey because I looked like Freddy Krueger, but I was still scared to even be wearing it. Yeah.
All right, next question. I don't want to offend you, but Queenstown, New Zealand is actually my favorite city in the world. I apologize. But it's also known as the adventure capital of the world. Have you ever partaken in any adventures like bungee jumping, hang gliding, or jet boating, or do you like to keep 2 feet on the ground at all times?
Like it's ever or in Queenstown?
Just ever, anywhere. I mean, they do bungee jumping in Auckland, and
I've bungee jumped from Taupo down a massive big river thing in Taupo. I skydived from 15,000 feet in Queenstown, just not that long ago actually. I've been on a jet boat in Queenstown and in Rotorua. And what were the other ones that I should have done? I haven't
hang gliding.
Yeah, I haven't done that, but I'll do that if you want.
Yes.
I like that kind of thing. I love it.
Because I've done all of those except hang gliding as well. So
yeah, well then we've got to hang glide together. It'll be great. Hey, sorry, Logan, can you get me the battery for your mum's computer? Because it's about to run out, and this will be terrible. There's a charger. Thank you. Sorry.
That's okay. We'll wait until the charger gets there just in case.
Yeah. Well, I'll go facilitate that and go for a quick. Don't record this, but don't put it on. But I'm going to go for a quick wee, and then I'll come back. Is that okay?
Okay. go for it.
You can put that on your light, Mike. I've got to do it.
Anyone got a wee? All right. Are you ready for the next lightning round question?
Yeah, totally bust the lightning round by going to the toilet midway through. But yeah, sorry, I'm ready now.
No, that's all right. We had a lightning round with one guest, and he told us like a 30-minute story in the lightning round.
Oh, I'm not going to do that. Okay, I'm ready now. He's going to be so succinct. You just look out.
We don't care. We love talking with you. So
yeah. It could be a slow drizzle as opposed to lightning. Yeah. It's fine.
A slow-moving storm, I think he called it.
A cyclone. Yeah. A tornado of information.
Well, since this is a horror podcast, what is Halloween like in New Zealand? Is it a huge deal or as popular as it is here in the States? It's
becoming more and more popular. And it's funny because I have had a bit of an issue with Halloween because I'm like,
okay.
As a teacher, I'm like, what kind of a tradition is like, go to someone's house, say, give me what I want, something good, otherwise I'm going to do something really mean to you. And I have an issue with that philosophy. So I feel like it should be, you should go to someone's house and say, I want to give you something good. And if you don't want it, then I'll put something shit in your letterbox, you know? But yeah. But it's becoming more and more popular in New Zealand. But then I worry about the consumerism that's attached to that. Yeah. But you know, who doesn't love a good dress up?
Right. Or a good scare.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. So it's like, would you like to have a really good fright from me? Because I can give you one for free. That would be nice, rather than like, if you don't give me some lollies, I'm going to freak you out and I'm going to do something really shit to your house. And I did do that as a young person.
And you don't need to just do it on Halloween. You can just walk around asking people if you want to scare the shit out of them any day of the year.
Would you fancy a fright? Because I've got a frightening thing for you. Yeah, so that's you guys are right. Every day should be Halloween, not just one day of the year. It's like,
I mean, it
like
kind of is to us.
Yeah, it's like having like Gay Pride Day. It's like, well, we can't be gay any other day than Gay Pride Day. It's like, well, can't I be gay all of the days? You know?
Right. Exactly.
you guys should be freaking people out every day, and that's my opinion. Yeah,
I agree.
I agree too.
Great.
So
then we're in agreement.
we're all in agreement. So
What?
you've probably been asked this before, but I really want to know. Being
again. I don't want to answer this again.
you don't have to. You can you know, choose to you can say pass if you don't like the question.
I never will say pass. I'm always in for it. Go. What's the question?
So I'm personally a huge Lord of the Rings fan, and now New Zealand is pretty much synonymous with Middle Earth.
Yeah, I knew that was. I was expecting that look.
One, are you a Lord of the Rings fan? Have you done any of the Lord of the Rings tours? And how do you feel about New Zealand basically being claimed as Middle Earth due to the success of the films?
Are you like fuck Tolkien and everybody else?
Are you like, you know, Peter Jackson could just fuck off, Tolkien can go eat a dick?
Peter Jackson's his own guy, and he's got some issues that I don't agree. There's some things that I don't agree with in terms of Peter Jackson, in terms of him wanting to own Miramar, which is where I grew up, you know, so that's my actual neighbourhood. And he's done some pretty shafty things, in my opinion. As far as Tolkien goes, I never read the books. I never actually, you know, didn't know about that stuff. But, you know, I actually accidentally was camping at Kaitoki one time, and we went for a bushwalk with the kids, and they're like, you can't be here. And they were obviously filming The Hobbit. And so I had no idea that that's what was happening. But I'd stumbled across this and got told off big time for trying to walk into this big scene. So I have been part of that filmmaking process, but not on purpose, purely by accident. And I was like, ugh, this is dumb. I just want to go camping. Why can't I walk through the bush?
That's probably
I feel like I missed about
so
half
so
of
I'm
the
guessing
map.
you're not a Lord of the Rings fan then, or have you seen any of the films?
Yeah, I have watched the first three. Is it the main three, and then there's the after one that's the before one. It's like Star Wars. Like, it can't keep up. You're like, don't make movies after the movies that go before the other movies. Like this makes no sense to me.
So your feelings towards the films, is that kind of how most New Zealanders are? Is they're just kind of over the whole Lord of the Rings thing and just kind of want to go back to being New Zealand and not Middle Earth?
I don't know. I think probably we do. We always have a sense of pride in that people like the fact that we were Middle Earth, and I think that's something that we do value and like. But then it's that shift between why can't we just be known as being great in terms of our own actual country, rather than having to be a fictional land, maybe. But maybe that's just me talking politically rather than as a avid.
No, that makes sense, and I think, you know, because you're a very small country, but you have a rich history, and you know, this is kind of overshadowing so much of New Zealand. Like, so much of what people know of New Zealand, like, you know, from the US and the rest of the world, they kind of relate it to the story, and it shouldn't be that way.
No, it should be why we're not telling the stories about our tangata whenua, our Indigenous Māori people, and seeing that as our real strength in terms of who we are as a country. And I guess that has, you know, that colonisation has done all sorts of damage to groups in New Zealand that I think should be focused on in terms of being undone.
I've never read the books either, and I've seen the films, and I'm, I guess, a fan, but I'm not a hardcore Lord of the Rings person. But I just think that New Zealand's beautiful, so I want to come see it just for New Zealand.
Oh, yes. You don't have to love Lord of the Rings to love the scenery. It's amazing. We've got such amazing, beautiful landscapes everywhere. Yeah. But also, if you did have to sleep with one of the people in Lord of the Rings, who would it be? That's what I want to know. That's my question.
Did you say sleep with?
Lightning round. What?
Sure. Sean Astin and or what's his face?
Really?
Oh yeah, he's Mikey from the Goonies.
I love the Goonies. Yes.
Yeah, he's Mikey. So I would 100% Sean Astin.
Okay. Yeah. Great.
Sharon?
I just want to make you said sleep with, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Liv Tyler for sure.
Okay. Hot.
How about you?
What? Oh, no,
How about you?
The question. I don't have to answer the question. I asked you the question. Nah, for me, probably definitely Kate Blanchett. Who was she again?
Ooh, that's a good choice.
She plays Galadriel. Yep.
Yeah, she's kind of though a given. I feel like Kate Blanchett because it doesn't have to be Lord of the Rings for me.
I should have chosen a man. That would have been out of it, you know. Okay, I'll choose Viggo Mortensen.
Oh.
Actually, I don't want to. Please don't. I don't want to choose him. No.
No, we're just joking.
Peter Jackson. I'll choose Peter Jackson.
I mean, okay. We can edit that part out if you know.
Fran Walsh. Yeah.
Well, so okay, I'm asking this next question actually for me and Sharon, but technically Sharon's married. I can't believe I'm asking.
Well, look, we've all been there.
I can't believe you're making me ask this, but would you be willing to give Jermaine Clement both of our phone numbers? And is he single? I'm sort of kidding, but not really.
I would definitely. I could give you his phone number, but he'd probably tell me off and be like, "Oh, Karen, why'd you do that?"
Don't do that. Don't do that. We want you on Wellington Paranormal.
He's not single. He's married to the lovely Miranda, who's a great friend of mine, and I go over there for dinner quite often. And no, Jermaine's a great guy, and we actually were in a feature film that Jackie Van Beek wrote and Valentine directed down south last year. We both get to be completely naked on screen together, so look forward to that.
We will.
Or not, but depending on what tickles your fancy.
But for real, we are fans. Yeah. Please tell his lovely wife I mean no offense. Yes.
He's such a lovely guy. Like he should have the ego of a blue whale. Like he's so talented. He's so great. But he's so humble. He's so lovely. He's just the kindest, nicest person you could ever meet.
He seems like it.
That's lovely to hear. I love, and even like just talking with you, I love when we see someone that we admire on screen and then we get to see them and talk to them or find out that they're good people, yourself included. So that's nice to know. Thank you. And again, all due respect to his wife. We're messing around here.
That's so. Look, she knows everyone fancies the pants of Jermaine. You know, even lesbians fancy Jermaine. Like it's it's got those lips and the face and stuff. You know, and he's a lovely guy.
Tell him next time you have dinner with him that there's a couple of whores in Chicago that are big fans of his.
I'll pass it on. Yep, for sure.
In that phrasing, that'll go over well, I'm sure.
Hey, Jermaine, I met this couple of whores, right? And they're keen on you, so keen. And they're in Chicago. Yeah.
All right. Last question.
Okay.
Finally, if me and Mindy apply to be New Zealand citizens, can you put in a good word for us?
Yes.
Thank you. Because it's very hard. I've already looked into applying, and it's not so easy.
Well, it's even hard for New Zealanders actual New Zealanders to come back to New Zealand now with MIQ and all that kind of stuff. So. Yeah, I feel your pain, but I don't feel as much as I feel the pain for New Zealanders that are wanting to get home to be with their families and they can't even get into the country. It's sure. Yeah, so definitely you are to be in the queue, but after the New Zealanders that want to come home.
To be fair, I've been looking into it for like 10 years, so...
Yeah, that's a long time. What you need to do is come over to New Zealand and marry a New Zealander. So I could hook you up with Jermaine. You could marry him, mate. Oh, no, he's already married. I know some other New Zealanders that they're not too bad, you know? Yeah.
I'm the single one. Men, women, I'm
what about
down.
Spencer? Does Spencer want to come or no? if you,
He's married to her, so
I
I'm the
know
only
that.
single
That's what I'm saying,
one.
like, it's going to be hard for her to come and marry a New Zealander if she's married to Spencer.
He'll let me get a divorce from him so I can marry someone, and then once I'm a citizen, then Spencer can come over and marry me, and I'll be a citizen.
Oh, it's all getting very complicated now. I think the best thing is, yeah.
Stick with the single one right here.
But yeah, I think for you, I think you should come over, and then maybe a friend can visit you. Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect. All right. Well, Karen, thank you so much for coming on the show. We cannot wait for seasons 3 and 4 to be available here in the U.S.
It's going to be amazing.
Oh my gosh, we cannot wait.
I do not doubt they'll be amazing.
Yeah.
Please, before we say goodbye, tell us are there any other projects that you're working on? Anything you want to promote? Where can people find you on the social medias?
Yeah, you can find me on the social media, like on the Instagram thing. I've got a name, but I can't remember what it is. And I'm on Twitter, and I can't remember what my name is on that either. But it's like, if you look me up, then you'll find me. And then I've got, like I said, New Tuesday is coming out hopefully early next year, which should be an amazing film and a very empowering experience. And a couple of other feature films. Michelle Saville, who's a Wellington-based director and writer, she's amazing. It's her first feature film, and I'll play a security guard in that. And then Lauren Taylor's made her first feature film, and I play a marriage celebrant in that, and I marry Jermaine Clement to his theoretical partner. So it's all very linked in Wellington. You always work the same. When I turned up, Jermaine was like, "What are you doing here?" I was like, "I'm marrying you." He's like, "Are you?" And this is, yeah. So got a couple of things. And The Eggplant, I think, is another great show that is on YouTube, which is about keeping young people safe in relation to the internet. So that's something you should check out, especially if you've got young people in your house. Yeah.
Awesome. We do not, unless you count Spencer. He's
well. Is he addicted to porn, or like, does he have issues sending nudes, or has he been a subject of like a groomed ever by anyone?
He does spend a lot of time on the internet.
Yeah, well, then just get him to watch The Eggplants on YouTube. I play a school principal, so it'll be really helpful for him, and probably for you guys too.
I think he actually has a question for you, if you'll allow it.
No.
No.
Yes, Spencer, what can I do for you, mate?
Hello.
Hello.
I am just really curious about the New Zealand sense of humor in general. Between your show and What We Do in the Shadows, and everything that Jermaine and Taika Waititi and all those wonderful people have done. There's this amazing New Zealand sense of humor that just is so special and dry. And I don't know. Have you ever actually put some thought into what that is?
Oh.
I have now.
That should have been one of our lightning round questions.
Yeah. I think maybe what it is that New Zealanders often undersell themselves. So we don't want to boast about anything. We're like, oh no, she'll be right. It's all good. So we never want to brag about anything. So maybe that's fed into how we deliver our comedy. It's like, we don't want to overstate it or oversell it. So we're kind of a little bit low key. We're deadpan, and hopefully just the nuance in terms of us not really caring about something that's hilarious is actually funny in itself. Maybe.
It is hilarious.
Yeah. I think genetically I'm a little bit New Zealander, because I just love that so much.
Yeah, well, even saying that was like, you didn't look that excited when you said it. So that was really good. Like, I really liked it. Like, yeah, so I just think genetically I'm kind of a bit New Zealand. That was really classy. Otherwise, like, as an American, you'd be like, oh yeah, I totally get that. I'm so New Zealand. I'm New Zealand comedy. But you did a New Zealand version. It was great.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And I just laugh at everything, and I'm just enjoying myself. So I don't think I have that deadpan humor, but I enjoy watching it.
No, but you don't have to be deadpan when you're delivering it. You can laugh at other people being funny. There's nothing wrong with that.
Thank you again to Karen O'Leary for taking the time to talk with us. We really, really, really appreciate it. You have no idea. Also, thank you all for listening to us as well. If you would like to see the actual video recording of the interview we did with Karen, please go subscribe to our Patreon at the $5 or higher level. That will get you access to this exclusive video post that we are going to put on our Patreon. It will only be available there. It won't be on our YouTube page. Sorry. There is going to be extra footage in the video as well. We had a little pre-interview chit-chat, so you'll get to see that. And also, unfortunately, Patreon does not have this feature yet where you can do a one-time only donation. But if you go to Patreon and you sign up for at least $5, you can watch the video and then you can just cancel. So it's a one-time fee of $5 or higher if you choose to do that.
But we will never let you in again.
We'll let you back if you want to come back. But, that's another option if you do want to see this video. And you can just send us a message and say, hey, not joining monthly, but just wanted to check out the video. So that's great too. Also, please write to us at whorestalkhorror@gmail.com. As always, you can write to us with any episode ideas, recommendations on what to watch, any ghost stories you want to share with us, true crime stories, creepy stories, whatever you would like us to read on our show.
Please do subscribe to us, rate and review us on your streaming platform of choice. As always, it does help us get more exposure, which helps us to keep doing the show, which we like to do, etc., etc. We would be most grateful. If you are able to, of course, please go ahead and join our Patreon for both the Karen videos, but also to get early access to episodes and see exclusive posts and maybe even get some cool goodies in the mail. Maybe? See for yourself. Please be kind to each other out there. Stay safe. And as always,
thanks for getting creepy with us.